today I've asked Nicole to stop in and just basically with COVID coming up with us possibly going into a red zone, compliance with the regulations is becoming much more strict. They're putting a lot more fines out. So I've asked Nicole to just stop in and kind of brush everybody up on the latest and greatest for the compliance part of things so that we don't get caught.
Yeah. So if you're not aware, the government has hired 58 additional compliance officers for the Windsor-Essex County area, probably from Chatham down. They've got a bigger area, and they are out and about. So one thing that I do, and I think a lot of the managers with CFIB do this as well, if we hear of compliance officers being in an area or targeting a certain industry, we make sure that our members are very well aware that they're coming. So what they're coming in looking for is masks and mask signages. But once a compliance officer is in your building, they are checking for everything else. So one of the things that CFIB makes sure that our members are aware of is what the new compliance regulations are. So we always do a wellness check, a compliance check, making sure that you're up to date on all your policies, procedures. We provide you with all those templates and things as part of your CFIB membership, so there's no additional fee, and you can access that stuff on our website all the time. So if you're not aware, the latest changes are the Employment Standard Act poster is now version 9. If you have any other version besides version 9, it could be a $350 fine. The other one is employee testing. So about 2 weeks ago, in the dark of night, about 11:30 on a Sunday night, the Parliament passed that it is mandatory for every employee to have a COVID screening upon entering the workplace. So we have a checklist, and the checklist is available on the Ministry of websites, or Ministry of Health, I believe their site as well. But we put together a checklist. Like anything with the government, when they first implement a new change, it's as clear as mud. It's all up to interpretation. So originally it came out that it was a just ask your employees if they, have any of these symptoms, and that's it. And then most recently, they're now asking for records of 30 days. So some businesses have went to the trouble of photocopying this template. Every employee has to fill it out and date it every single day. We recognize at CFIB that when you're busy running your business, you don't have time to be doing this. So we've actually put together a YouTube video on how to set up an app. So your employee can do it online, send it into you, because say, like for Crystal, maybe your employees don't come into your shop. Maybe they go right to a job site. They're still required to do that COVID check. This does not apply to any customers. So if you have, your customers coming into your clients coming into your office, they do not have to do a check yet. But every employee does, and they want a record. So we can assist with that kind of stuff as well. So those are the two main changes that have happened recently, as well as making sure you do have signages on your door fronts about wearing the mask. This is a sticky one again, because it's not law, right? The government is very careful with their words. It is advised to wear a mask. The health unit is implementing that one. The health unit is requiring the masks. The government has kind of stepped out, but then we look at Toronto and they just shut down that restaurant. Are you guys aware of what was happening in Toronto with the barbecue place?
Yeah. The guy ended up breaking into, I don't think he broke into the business beside. I think they let him in, and they cut a hole in the wall, and he had to bust through the wall to get into his restaurant because they changed the locks and screwed the door shut on him.
So there's a restaurant in Toronto that's defying the mandates there. And I see where he's coming from, honestly. Like, this is your livelihood. So he was given a warning. He continued to open up. So we're advising members and any business owner to please not do that, because what has now happened is they revoked his business license. So he's operating now illegally. Like Crystal said, they have changed his locks and bolted his door down, and they also gave him a $75,000 fine.
Yeah.
So depending on, and in a restaurant is slim. That barbecue.
Oh, hang on, Nicole, you're freezing up a little bit, or maybe that's me. I'm not sure.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
Nicole. Yeah.
Could you just repeat that last thing you were saying, please?
Oh, I was just saying, like, he got a $75,000 fine. So that's a lot of barbecue he's going to have to sell because the margins are so small. So
He's not even allowed to sell it.
to me,
He's not even allowed to sell it.
no, they've completely, and so I've had like yesterday, that was a lot of the conversations from business owners. Like, what does CFIB advise? Well, we don't advise you to defy the law, but we do advise you to sign our petition that we have out. So I've posted it on our website about keeping small businesses open, because every single one of us, I think that we could be responsible enough to limit the amount of people you have in, to follow the guidelines, because at the end of the day, you want to keep your business open, right? You want to have revenue coming in, and you want to keep your staff and your customers safe. So if they say, okay, you can't have any more than 3 people in your business at this point, if you're like, for yourself, Julie, or yourself, Ted, that you're in an office setting, you can manage that.
Mhm.
So we're just asking to be fair. And one of our things that we're saying is, if you're telling business owners, if we do go into the shutdown, which is what's predicted, I think, for Windsor, we find out today, right? If we go into the red, if you're telling us that we can't go to the local florist to buy our Christmas arrangement, then you better not be able to buy a Christmas arrangement at Walmart or Costco.
Yeah.
So that's our big push right now.
And that explains, somebody on Facebook this morning was in a mom's group was asking if it was true they started taping off sections of Walmart. And so
in
my
Manitoba, they
yes.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Manitoba, that law has already been passed, that if like Walmart and Costco, and there was another big chain that they have out there, it is essential only. So it is groceries and your dry goods, like your toiletries and things like that, prescription medications. That is it. You can't go in and buy T-shirts or,
I think a lot of people have had problems, like small business owners have had problems with the idea that you're shutting down my business, because it's not an essential service, but I can go into Costco and basically it's just business as usual. I can go into Walmart, it's business as usual.
Mm-hmm.
So, why are they allowed to sell, things other than essentials, and I'm not, and it's easier for a smaller shop or a smaller business to control the flow of traffic, to control the number of people coming in. Mm-hmm. So yeah, a lot of business owners were having trouble with that one.
Well, and we do know the reason why the Costcos and the Walmarts were able to continue to stay open is their CEOs and CFOs contacted Doug Ford, contacted Justin Trudeau, because they have that power behind them. And that's one of the things that we fight with CFIB is, Julie can't call Doug Ford and say, please keep my Edward Jones business open. But the CEOs all have that contact, right? Independent business owners don't have that. And so it makes it a very unfair playing field, yet, we're all trying to do the same thing. And I think, Dave, like you're saying, a small business owner cares about their customers more than a Costco and a Walmart does.
Oh yeah.
Right. So you're providing the sanitizers and the safety and going out of your way. And, last week when we were talking too, how many businesses have figured out a way to work outside their normal to support their customers and to still reach out there. Like, it's been very inspiring to me to see how many businesses have figured out different ways to keep.
And Nicole,
keep going.
Edward Jones is a massive company, and honestly, we have yet to be told we have to open our doors. We have been told through this entire thing, if we do not want to open our doors, we don't have to.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Like that's one thing I have to give kudos to my company. And granted, services are definitely easier than merchandise, but honestly, I'm really proud of my company for that fact. And being that the head office is in St. Louis, they really feel the effects. 95% of our head office is no longer working in the building. They just said it's easier to do it this way. We have other ways of dealing with clients.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, a business that sells a product does curbside. It's no different than me. I had to have a mailbox made on a stand to put it in front of my office. So when clients need to drop things off or pick things up, that's how we do it. We give a little wave and out you go.
Yeah,
So there are ways if a large company chooses to do them.
for sure.
You know what it is? It's really, I mean, this is so individual.
Yes.
You've got people like Edward Jones, who have the ability to, you know, pivot like that. People like Crystal, who have to go into their home, people's homes, and work on their homes. It's a whole different situation.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
They go into the red and, again, like they did before, like into the gray at this point in time, and tell Crystal you can't go into somebody's home. Or, I mean, just from a business standpoint, I'm sure there's not a lot of people who are moving on having other people in their homes right now for fear of, you know, having people coming into their homes with COVID. So, you know, it's a much harder situation for different businesses. Rick Limoges from Sandy's restaurant there just put something in the group. And it was a very nice write-up about restaurants and basically how restaurants can control the number of people coming in. They can control the situations. It's actually, to him, and I agree with him, it's a mental health thing to be able to get out of the house, go to the restaurant in a controlled environment, you know, and if somebody wants to have a get together or something and, you know, rather than having it at their home or something where they can suddenly have 20 people, you know, you go to the restaurant, you can have 4 people at the table, you can still get out, you can still enjoy time with people. You shouldn't, unless it's with your close, you know, relatives or your bubble. But if they do, at least it's limited the number and it's limited the potential, and they keep records. You go into Walmart, you go into Costco, they're not asking you for your name and phone number.
No.
You know, somebody passes it on there. They're not going to be calling thousands of people and saying, by the way, you know, somebody at Costco, you know, we think they might have a case, but
And you know,
a restaurant will.
I think that's one of the most frustrating things for everybody is the inconsistency of what is required, right? So like you said, Costco, Walmart, I don't even know if they're counting. I haven't been in a Costco since this started. I will say I have ran into Walmart because sometimes you just have to when you have a family, but I try not to go there. But you're right, they don't check. I don't think anybody's really counting, or if they are, I haven't seen that there. But when you go into a small business, you know that they're watching. And I know here in Kingsville, even though it's not mandated now, I have seen a couple businesses have put limit of 4 customers in the store. They're doing it on their own.
Right.
And, you know, I was talking to a lady that owns a nail salon 2 days ago. She owns her salon in Windsor, and it's only her. So she said, if we go back, I can't have anybody. I don't have employees. So why do I have to close? I can only have one person at a time anyhow. So when they're blanketing everybody with the same, I don't know, regulations, but you might be able to figure out a way to work around things, you know, and to keep everybody safe. Because I think I've already said this, no employer wants to get their employees sick or have them, like in Crystal's case, she doesn't want her employees, if they're ill, to go out into the public. So she's going to do what it takes to keep her clients safe, her employees safe, her business safe. Like, we're not monsters. I think we all want just the safety.
Yeah. I think the problem lies in that, you know, as a collective group today, we have ethical, moral, strong values. And the blanket rules come in because there's a lot of people who don't.
Yes, that's part of the problem. It is, you know, the few individuals who do things like that, and this is always the case, has been since the dawn of time. You know, few individuals who don't follow the rules, screw it for everybody else who does.
We're all stuck in at recess again. It never ends.
It's true.
It's the worst Groundhog's Day ever.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming in. And does anybody have any questions? Because Nicole is just a fountain of information.
Yeah, I have a million questions, but honestly, I would love to do like just a Zoom one-to-one with you.
Absolutely.
I have a lot of small business clients.
Yeah.
And the businesses that I talk to, I have a few businesses that I know have honestly done nothing and then sought out nothing. And I know there's a lot out there. So we'll touch base.
And the hard thing is, and one of the things that we're trying to push through with the compliance as well, I mean, we all remember Kathleen Wynne, and she had turned her Ministry of Labor into an enforcement agency instead of an educational agency.
Mhm.
And Doug Ford, up until just this last hire, had been working with CFIB to go back to that. So there was a time that a compliance officer would come into your business and let you know what you needed and give you some time to get that. And I think that there still are some compliance officers out there that will do that. I always refer to them like the police. Depending on what cop you get, depends if you're going to get the ticket or not, right? So if you get one that's maybe more seasoned, he's going to give you, you need to do this. And the thing that business owners always say is, how can you find me for something I didn't know I needed to have? If you tell me and you give me time to get it and I don't get it, well, then I deserve the fine because I didn't do. But when you're changing rules, like, you know, the employee COVID test at 11:30 on a Sunday night and not notifying business owners that this is a new requirement, how can you fine somebody? And that's a hefty fine. That's a $10,000 fine. So, and some of the compliance officers aren't taking the I didn't know. And for Crystal, just for you, your company vehicles, are they branded?
No.
Okay. If possible, keep them that way. Because once you brand your vehicle, it is considered a workspace. And you need to carry with you a compliance binder of all the policies, procedures, have no smoking, no vaping stickers on your vehicle, the whole thing. So I always tell business owners, if you can get away with not branding your vehicle, that's probably your best bet. Then
You know, I don't think a lot of people know that, Nicole. I don't think
No.
No.
I think that what they do is they put a sticker on the side of their car and figure, or their truck, and figure, okay, you know, it's just great advertising. Here we go. They don't understand the legal ramifications of doing that. It changes things from an insurance standpoint. It changes things from a work standpoint. Certain regulations now come into play because, as you said, you know, it's classified as a workspace. You know, things that happen in that workspace, you know, either need to be reported differently or recorded differently. So yeah, no, that's a really good point. It really is.
And I'm usually not a tattletale, right? But I will tell you, maybe about 6 months ago, I came up across a service truck, and the company is part of CFIB, so I know the owner quite well. And I'm at the corner, I think it's 42 in Manning. So I'm parked or stopped right beside this company truck, and I look over and the guy's vaping in the vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Well, I know that we have sent them the no smoking policies and stickers, and I know that his employees have all signed off that they will not smoke in the vehicle. I called that business owner and said, hey, just so you know, I'm on County Road 42. I'm turning left. Your company truck is turning right. So I don't know what vehicle, I can't see the license plate, but they're smoking or vaping in your vehicle right now. He was livid. Because if that vehicle gets, now the only thing that would save him was that employee did sign that he would not smoke in the company vehicle. So if he got pulled over, the employee would pay that fine,
Right.
not the business owner.
Right.
But just the fact that you know, boss is not near you, so.
Yeah, but if certain owners don't have their employees sign off, you know, if it's just, again, one of the topics I wanted to talk about today real quick was procrastination. And if somebody puts something off and says, okay, well, I'll get the guys to sign later on, it's not a big deal, you know, and somebody's, you know, smoking, vaping, or whatever in the vehicle, and a compliance officer sees that, I don't know the number on the fine, but you know, suddenly they're going to end up with you know, a bill they didn't need and maybe can't afford at this point in time.
Absolutely. And you know, one of the things that we put together is called a back to business kit. So I email that out to all of our members, and in it, it has the latest templates, policies, procedures, and the protocols. That being said, I might email it to Ted And if Ted never prints it off or puts it up, you know, now I know our members, and I've had this happen in the past, we give you a CFIB sticker when you join CFIB. That sticker also keeps the Ministry of Labor out of your business for the most part, because they know that one of the things that CFIB does very well is keeps our business owners in compliance. The second thing I've told business owners too, if you don't have time, Ted, to print this stuff off today, if the Ministry of Labor ever walks in, please call up that email and say, oh my gosh, Nicole just sent this to me. I'm just, you have all the information there. But we get busy, and that's what we know with CFIB. You get busy running your business, and it's exactly what you just said, Dave. You get the information, you have good intentions, but something comes up more pressing than printing off a piece of paper. And even though we know that it's a requirement, you know, if you have a customer that needs your attention first, that's bringing you money in the door, that's what you're taking care of, right?
Yeah.
Forgetting that maybe these fines are gonna, you know,
Well,
cost a lot of money.
I was reading an article just the other day on procrastination, and they did a survey, and I thought it was great because it said 95% of people on the survey said that they procrastinate, and the other 5% said they'll do the survey later. So I mean, people, it's natural for people to procrastinate. It's you know, it usually things like printing off papers or whatever else like that. It's not something that's interesting. It's not sexy. It's not exciting. You know, so you go and do either something else that you consider more important or more fun.
Yeah.
You know, and then things get put off, and until the officer walks through the door and says, "Where's your paperwork?" You know, and then suddenly it's like, "Oh my God," you know.
And a lot of small business owners don't have an HR department that's keeping up for them, right?
Oh, no.
So that's one more thing on the business owner's back. And, you know, these are things that have to be done yearly.
And
So if
something
you
I
don't
like to
have
say,
somebody
quite
looking out
honestly,
for you.
sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
Oh, that's okay.
The other thing most people forget is most small businesses have never had any training in any of these areas. They're not starting out with an HR background. So every single minute thing is new to them.
Or they consider their employees part of their family. So they don't want to enforce these violent policies and harassment policies, or, you know, they
Nicole, in some cases, the employees are their family.
Yeah.
You know, just
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking to Eddie from Tabbouleh Restaurant, and most of the people that work for him are either close friends or relatives. So it's, you know, yeah, you don't want to pressure them. You don't want to, you know, make them feel bad, or you don't want to make yourself feel bad putting pressure on them. So you just avoid doing it and unfortunately, it's when the compliance officer walks through the door and suddenly starts going, okay, where's this? Do you have this? Do you have this? Have you informed your you know, let's see your records from your employees of all your checks. And then suddenly you're looking at a whole list of fines depending on the compliance officer.
Yeah. And even if you're a sole proprietor with no employees, there's still a few posters and stuff that you're supposed to have in your business that some don't realize. You're supposed to have a health and safety poster.
The government does have some basic, you know, instructions on how to set things up. But like you said, and we all know, they change their regulations in their minds, you know, 6 times a day.
And the other thing, when you go on the government's website, you could be looking at a few different tabs trying to figure out where do I go to get my violence policy template, or where do I go to get the new Employment Standard Act? It's all over the place. The nice thing with CFIB, it's all in one spot. You go onto our website, you go under templates and policies, and it's all there. And if you have a company, so this is just another selling point here for CFIB, if you have a company that maybe has a location in a different province, your CFIB membership gives you access to every province. So the laws and regulations, the rules, all of that, you can call our counselors and they can answer your questions from your company in Newfoundland to your company in BC and everywhere in between. So we can keep you up to date on everything, which is something that a lot of businesses don't know either. You know, maybe your operation started in Ontario and now you're moving a second location to a different province. How do you go about that? We can assist with that too.
There you go, Ted. So when you go international, you know, or across Canada,
It's happening. It's
you're covered.
It's happening.
But for so in the eyes of procrastination, that a lot of times you procrastinate because you don't know how to get the information, and you
Right.
just, it's daunting, right? The feeling of
Yeah.
it. So I guess
What I
CFIB can
find
help with
is
procrastination too.
Yeah,
We
and
can.
some
So-
businesses don't know what they don't know. They can go on the government site, but they don't know they need to find the violence form. You don't know what
Exactly.
you don't know. So it's not even a matter of they haven't laid it out nicely. You just don't know.
Yeah. And you know, and that's always been a bone of contention with business owners too. Like, we know that the government has your information,
Mhm.
right? You're registered. And the other thing too that I hear from business owners, so I don't know if anybody's opened their business recently or how Windsor works, but here out in the county, I have business owners say, you know, I just went to the town and I got my business license, or I proposed my plan and I'm in my shop, but nobody told me I had to have this and this and this and this. They just said you have to have a fire inspection and put your business license up or whatever.
Yeah.
So that disconnect too, even between the municipalities and the cities and the business owners opening. If there could be something combined, like I'm trying to work with our BIA here in Kingsville to let them know, like, when you have a new business, and I'm not saying contact me so you become a member with CFIB. What I'm saying to the business, the BIA, is have them reach out to me so I can help them get the paperwork and stuff that they need. Because if you just opened your doors on Tuesday and the Ministry of Labor or Ministry of Health shows up on Friday and gives you $10,000 in fines, some business owners are going to say, well, here's the keys to my business because I don't have that money.
There's a guy I was working with not too long ago. Him and his partner, who's a chemist, are opening up an ice cream. They're going to be making ice cream in Windsor. So they're going to actually be making their own flavors and everything else. So they were going through all the regulations of how to, to do that and everything. He ran into the exact same thing that you're talking about. He would contact one department in the government and they would say, okay, you need this and this and this. Then he would contact another department and they'd say, well, yeah, you do need that, but you also need this and this and this. Yeah.
That's why we have issues, right? Because the laws are written up for interpretation. So you read it one way, and then, you get a complaint or have a bylaw officer in and they say, well, that's not what it means. And you're like, well, you can't tell me how I'm interpreting something. Like, it's not clear cut. Everything is written gray. Yeah, even if he just calls the 1-800 number.
Yeah,
they would be able to.
like you were saying, it was like he was just baffled because
For sure.
he's brand new, in the business and opening a business. So he's got a great idea. He's got the knowledge and the skills and everything else to do. He's got some of the finances to get things set up. But the regulations and the laws and the setups and everything else were just, every time I talked to him, there was something else new, something else had changed.
So I've been with CFIB for 4 years now. And I have realized more and more every day that goes by, I will never, ever, ever in my life be a small business owner.
Oh, come on.
Because just in the 4 years since I've been here, how much more difficult it is from then to now to continue to run your business is, I used to ask business owners when I met with them, if your family member came to you and said, I'd like to open my own business, what would you say? And 90% of business owners said that they would tell their kids to get a job and don't go into the family business. Now my question to business owners, because of everything COVID, is what, on top of your normal stuff that you deal with, what's keeping you up at night? And safety of their employees is number one.
Sure. My nephew runs an architectural firm in London. And yeah, I mean, that's his concern. We've talked about a number of things. His concern for his employees coming in. He's very strict with his, and not, as he says, the government can make the rules all they want. His rules are stricter. So, I mean, yeah, being a business owner, there's a lot to it, but I tell you, it's really rewarding at the same time. But I guess one of the things that, I know you've all heard this because we've all, done this stuff before but you have to ask yourself the one question when you go into business is why? Why are you doing this? Are you doing it just for the money? Are you doing it for passion? Are you doing it, for your kids? You know, so if you can answer that why question, then business becomes a little easier. Because whenever you feel like you're struggling, whenever you feel like things are getting a little tough, or, you know, COVID suddenly hit, you know, you reach back to that core why, you know, and that's what'll keep you going. And that's why, like, truthfully, with my granddaughter, you know, she's a great kid. She's super, I'm not just saying this, she's super smart. For her age, she is, you know, like her schoolwork and everything else, she does phenomenal with. And I'm basically, you know, pushing her towards the idea of investing. You know, we're opening up stuff, having her start putting money in, and looking at entrepreneurship and business, because I think it can be really, really rewarding. As tough as it is, you know, everything's tough. Even if you go get yourself just a regular job and a regular paycheck, you know, there's frustrations and regrets and everything else, you know. Personally, I'm all for the small business, you know.
I am too. I just like my role of just helping. I'll just
something that I've been telling all my clients, and I think if we'd had this conversation a year ago, of course, it would be very, very different. And, you know, maybe 20 years from now, we'll look at this and we'll go, okay, it was this piece of time in our lifetime. And how did it affect us? And yes, it changed things. But, you know, like you're saying, Dave, in a small business, if we'd had this conversation last year, we would have been all for it. And we were. You and I and many of the people in the room have been helping people in their small businesses for the last 2 years. And it's unfortunate. But I'm looking at the diversity that we've all gained, the value in being able to pivot. Somebody used the word pivot earlier. You know, Ted, I love the fact that you must have had some sort of premonition with your iCloud business, because that really was the way to go. I mean, you were already starting your pivot. So I don't know how it's affecting your business per se, but it's allowing potential business owners to think about these things ahead of time that maybe so many didn't, right? So in your case, Dave, your daughter or granddaughter, excuse me, if Ariel wants to get into a business, I mean, we could basically cover every pitfall with her, right? Like there's every pitfall that could happen, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you're not going to get much worse than that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we're going to be those ones that sound like people from the Depression going, well, you know, we walked and collected firewood to heat our house, you know. We're going to be those people from the business perspective.
Well, you know what it is, though, too, is and I get this conversation a lot with a lot of the people I talk to, is they have now, and this is what I call it, they're working chaos into their business plan. Okay? Yeah. Whenever you create your business, allow for chaos. Understand that it's going to happen. And if it's not COVID, it's going to be something else. You know? So in your plan, you know, plan for financially for problems, you know.
And plan now, don't procrastinate. Get it done now.
You know, I'm going to have to put off the procrastination show. But no, I mean, seriously, yeah, work chaos into your plan, because it's going to happen. If it's not one thing, it's another. As I was just on a Zoom.
There's I'm going to say that, like, that is easier said than done for a lot of small business owners. Everybody says, I always say, you should have 3 to 6 months cash. Nobody does. Nobody does, because they can't throw that money. It's not that, like, small business owners don't have a bunch of money. Everybody who's an employee usually thinks you have a business, you have a whole bunch of money. That's not true. They have less money than you. You know, like,
absolutely.
But it's not just money.
And so it's very hard to plan for a rainy day.
It's not just money.
They're always chasing the tail.
It doesn't have to be the liquid cash, and I think that's what Dave's getting at. It's you know, even like you say, there's so much money. I talk to people every day, and I have to ask them as a financial advisor, do you have emergency money? People say no, but then when we start looking at the fact that they have a registered savings plan or a TFSA or stuff, in an emergency, that is your emergency money. You don't want to use it, God forbid, but it's there. And
but
this
it's an
is
emergency.
kind of, you know, and people have, I mean, I'm just going to call it like, see, shit happens. And honestly, I think, Ted, you're like me. When things are going well, you cause your own great chaos. I do. If your business is going well, let's take it somewhere else, right? If things are becoming status quo, let's change it. Let's add more. And that's part of being a business owner, is when things start getting okay, we could do better.
Yeah.
And it's not just financials, Ted. It's okay.
Yeah.
You can plan to the idea that, okay, you know, things are going to happen. Can I plan for maybe being online if something does happen? You know, and you can look at all the different scenarios that could possibly happen. You know, what can I do? How can I pivot my business if I needed to? I'm not going to right now. It's doing fine. But if something went wrong, what could I do to pivot my business, you know, to continue to make it viable, or to continue to make it viable? It's just not hiding your head in the sand, which I've run into this with a lot of business owners. They start their business. I was just talking to the guy from the Man Shop. James is a great guy. And before COVID, his business was going really great. So he didn't have any of these plans written up. He didn't have anything for his employees. There was no thoughts because things were going great. Then suddenly they weren't, you know, and suddenly he was scrambling, and now he's behind the 8 ball and he's trying to work his way back out again.
Mhm.
If he had planned both all financially, if he had planned, you know, he
Hey,
says,
I've got a great example. Ted,
Sure.
you're a plan B kind of guy, right? You have plan B. If this happens, plan B is this. And I know you
Yeah.
are. If you lost your most important employee today, do you know what you would do? And I know the answer is yes. You know exactly what you would do next.
Not 100%. I'm
Okay.
super afraid of that. I'm super afraid of that.
But I mean,
I lean on her way too much.
but that's okay, because in the back of your mind, there's that plan B. And a lot of people in small business now, the word plan B is a bad thing. You know, when you become this, you don't want a plan B. It stops you from focusing. But everybody has a plan B. It's, do you have plan B, C, D, E? And it doesn't necessarily have to be written in your business plan, but do you have that plan B?
right.
Right.
And that's the thing. You have to understand that what happens if you get sick? What happens if your business partner or you rely heavily on your employee there, Ted? What happens if that person suddenly became sick, didn't quit, just became sick and couldn't work? You know, what would you do? You know, if you know now and have it kind of written down on a napkin somewhere, or actually written into your business plan, you know, if so-and-so can't do it anymore, I'm going to do this, and this, and you set it aside, then you don't have to worry about it, because if that eventuality happens, you know what you're going to do. A lot of people don't plan like that. And then when something does happen, they're scrambling, you know, to either keep their business going or to maintain their business.
You know, in a business like yours, Ted, and I'll use this as an example, please don't take it as a selling point, because that's not my intention with this, is there is a thing called key person insurance. And it's an amazing thing for a business, because what it would do is if your key person was unable to work, they would give you the money to replace what they draw in, whether it's to hire a new person, whether it's to train somebody, whether it's whatever. That's an example of something, but it costs money, right? So not only do you have to plan for such something happen, but you have to put that into your business plan that, you know what, this person is so valuable to me, I need to do this. But it goes back to, I don't know what I don't know. Every person cannot know everything.
Right.
That's the hard part.
And then all you can really do, to be honest, Ted, when we're talking about chaos, and is, and I know this is for a short period of time, you know, be pessimistic. Look at the worst possible thing that can happen to your business. You know, obviously COVID was not anything that anybody would consider, but, you know, look at the worst possible things that can happen, and then write up a little secondary plan for if those things happen, and then lock it away in a safe and pray to God it never happens. You know, that's what I'm telling people to do, you know, because there's so many businesses that are coming to me now through the network going, you know, I'm having trouble. What do I do? Who do I talk to? You know, yeah, I don't have the income because I don't have customers right now. You know, what can I do? So I'm like Julie, like yourself, Ted, like, you know, like everybody here, like Nicole. You know, I try and help them out as best I can in the current situation that they're in. But one of the things I advise is, okay, let's try and figure out what we can do right now. But also let's talk about what happens if, I mean, and God forbid, I was talking about this on another Zoom, but God forbid, 20 years ago, we had SARS, then we had MERS, then we had, I forget what other, the bird flu. You know, now like 10 years later, we have this, you know, this pandemic going on. This is going on more and more and more. So could this happen again? You know, could it be with something worse? Absolutely. You know, so
I'd like to
let's
point out on that point, when you mentioned about the pandemic and something else possibly happening, that mass grave that they're trying to find on the riverfront, it's a mass grave of people that had cholera
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
do them.
I mean, that's the thing is that, you know, can these things happen again? Yes. So, you know, I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm not trying to be a, you know, a downer. I'm trying to be realistic and say these things can happen. You know, let's work them into the plan. Let's look at insurance. Let's look at our finances. Let's look at our accounting. Let's talk to CFIB. You know, let's make sure that all my ducks are in a row, and then you can sleep better at night. If some people, and I won't say everybody, because obviously nobody planned on their businesses being shut down for months and months and months.
Right.
You know, that wasn't an eventuality anybody thought of. But if you have a plan in place for, you know, something happening to your employee, Ted, or something else, and you know what's going to happen, in the back of your mind, you're going to sleep better at night. It's a little less stress, you know, and it's going to make enjoying your business a little bit better because you know that you're set. That's why we have insurance. That's why we, you know, put away my little money for rainy days.
I always tease because I always thought the worst case scenario would be that the internet overall would crash and burn. And so about monthly, I print off a client list and I have it in my briefcase at home. I don't know what that's going to do for me at that time because 9 out of 10 people don't even have a landline anymore. But it's one of those things that makes me feel better.
We're the same.
Yeah, right?
Because I do the same thing. We have to book everything into our apps.
Yeah.
And then I keep a paper agenda and I have every member's contact information because, first of all, I'm not techie. So I get locked out of things a lot and don't know how to find things. That's my safety. I always say I'm the dinosaur on our team. So I've got my little paper agenda, keep it with me.
And I'll save your bacon one day. Yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, you don't know. And the quote that I keep saying to myself over and over is, if you plan to fail, you fail. No, if you
fail to plan,
you plan to fail.
Yeah.
And so I think that goes now for everything, right? Like planning for that next rainy day, planning for the compliance officers arriving on your door, because it's no longer a matter of if, it's when, just so you know, like they're
and
coming.
I'm taking note of that because many of us who work with other small businesses as well have compliance issues. So it's not only small business issues, it's regulatory. The regulators would land on my doorstep or Ted's doorstep. I mean, that's another issue. And sorry, completely off topic. Am I okay to contact you on your personal email because that's what's showing on your Zoom, or would you prefer me to use your business email?
Either one.
Okay.
Either one. You can do that. You can Facebook message me too. My work email is nicole.kendrick@cfib.ca.
Okay.
So either one. I check everything goes to my phone anyhow. But I am going to do 2 shameless plugs. So because we're talking about procrastination, don't procrastinate. Consider joining CFIB now. We'll help you out. And please don't procrastinate and sign the petition to keep small business open. That is on the network website. I've posted it on there, Dave, I think. And
no, yeah, you posted it on there. I snapped a picture
and share it on your
there,
social media as well.
Yeah,
please.
Absolutely.
So yeah, 2 very important things there.
Well, you know, we didn't get into procrastination, but I think what we were talking about
kind of the opposite.
Off till later.
That's what I said.
Planning is like the opposite of procrastination. So,
yes.
So we're pretty much saying, do not procrastinate, plan.
But I have a whole another show to do. But yeah, no, this has been great, guys. If you have any questions, again, for Nicole, everybody, you know, who knows her knows she's just a fountain of information. So please, you know, do what Julie's doing and contact her. If you know any small businesses that have questions, I mean, and even if they don't want to become a member, you know, but you know, the CFIB will do what they can to help people out. They're there for that reason.
I'm willing to meet with any small business owner. I feel if I have given you information that has helped your business some way, I've done my job. If you decide to add your voice to CFIB, even better, but there's zero pressure, as I think Dave can attest to. I'm not a very pushy salesperson, but I am a true believer in small business and helping one another. And if I can answer anybody's questions, feel free to contact me at any time.
Does anybody else have
Awesome.
anything they want to say before we cut off here? Any announcements? Anything going on? Nothing special?
No,
No,
because if
I'm
things
gonna
are
be
going
opening-
normal, I'll create new chaos.
There you go.
We're gonna be opening our office in like a week and a half.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Ooh.
Where's the office at?
Riverside Drive in Lesborough. It's the old
Nice.
sketch art workshop.
Oh, what's the address? Because I'm going to be posting this. So what's the address?
Well, yeah, we're gonna do like a media release. So I don't remember. Yeah,
All good.
Okay, it's 122. Here, I'll put it in the chat.
Okay.
It's at the corner of Les Bronze and Riverside.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
Like me, when somebody asks where my office is, it's behind the outlet mall. They'll find it way better than if I give them the address.
No problem. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to be doing these talks every Friday. Whether it's 20 people or just me and somebody else, I'm going to get on there and chat. I posted some different topics we're going to be talking about. Designing website designs and how to really bring people to your websites for those who need it. We're going to be talking about just a myriad of other things. Procrastination is now going to be on the menu. So we'll be doing this every Friday from now, till the 18th. And then, of course, a break for Christmas and start again in January. Also in January, I've started a couple of different things. If you guys are interested in it, you can check it out. I'm starting the podspot.ca. It's going to be just a hub for podcasts. So if somebody's interested in listening or in doing one, let me know. If you're in the network, there's no cost to it. I can tell people how to do it, and I'm just going to promote it for them. I'm also opening up. This is going to take a little more work. It's called the Zoom Closet, and it's going to basically be a Zoomcast hub. That's going to be a business, so there's going to be some financial cost to that. But if you're in the network, the cost is much less. So if you're either interested in watching Zoomcasts on various topics, it's not just business. It's going to be a whole array of different things. I've got a sign-up form for the net. Sorry, blanked out for a second. For the network, I'm going to be just keeping people up to date on the different meetings that are going on, the different classes, different events. Just so that you don't miss anything. I know a lot of stuff on there, if you're on there, gets buried really quick. So if you want to keep up to things, just sign up on the newsletter, and I'll send it out once a month with everything that's going on. And for those who don't know, and this is a shameless plug for me, we've joined with This Great City, which is a network started out of Hamilton. And it's at thisgreatcity.com if you want to check it out. Great platform and really good for small to mid-sized businesses, especially if you're looking to expand. It's in 10 cities right now. They're adding 2 more in December, and I think another 2 or 4 in January. And they've just reached out into the States as well. So hopefully by early next year, there'll be about 15 to 20 cities. So it's expanding. It's only been open for about 6 or 7 months now. So it's expanding quite rapidly. So if you want to check that out and want any more information on that, you can talk to myself or Ted. He's part of it as well.
Sign up as a citizen for free if you want to.
Yeah.
And then, but if you want to take advantage of more stuff, you can.
And we have if you're a part of the network, we have like really reduced prices for network people in the network. You get like the top package for like $260 for a year. So it's, it's like $21 a month. So somewhere in there, about $20 a month. So
anything above and be over, Dave's got it. It's all good.
That's it. You got it. So that's it, guys. That's my stuff for the day. It's been great talking to you guys. Julie, I'm going to get in contact with you next week. Okay. I want to set up something with you on the financial side.
Yep.
And Nicole, if you can hang out for a minute, I need to talk to you about something about CFIB.
Perfect. Okay.
And Nicole, since you're now part of the group of people that I've hung out with for a few years now, hugs and kisses, everybody. And,
hugs.
Hugs and kisses. Serotonin. When you squeeze your shoulders, you get serotonin.
There you go.
Come on, Ted. I know you want it. Okay. Bye, guys. Love you.
Always want hugs.
See everybody.
There you go. See you later, guys.